Hi guys, welcome to another reading vlog. So for today's reading vlog, I've decided that I'm just going to read a bunch of popular romantasies for maybe in the span of a week or so. I'm not really gonna give like everyday kind of vlog like I usually do. Instead, this is just gonna be me vlogging, reading romantasies books and giving my thoughts on it, on whether or not you guys should read it or not. So if you guys don't know, romantasies are one, if not my favorite book genre of all time. So I always really love to do this kind of video. So I'm just gonna be reading a bunch of very well-known popular romantasies that everybody has been recommending and that I've been wanting to read for quite a while. So I thought, why not just kind of compile it into one video and make it a week of reading romantasies, which is just my absolute dream, to be honest. So I wanted to read 4 titles for this video initially, but due to some scheduling and things that I have to do next week, I only have 1 week to basically finish this video, and I honestly don't think I can finish all 4 books in the span of 1 week. So I only ended up picking out 3 titles for this video. The first one being Throne of the Fallen by Kerri Maniscalco. I've heard really great things about this book. Some great, some bad, to be honest, but a lot of great things about it as well. So I've been really interested to start to read this. I know it's about like one of the 7 deadly sin or something like that, with like a mortal girl, which is great, a great premise, love that. But this book is so freaking thick. I'm literally actually scared to read this book. Like, it's literally 560 pages, which is quite thick. I mean, for a fantasy romance, it's not that outrageous, but like it is still a very thick book. So this is the only one that I'm going to have a physical copy of, because I did pick this up from the library yesterday, but the other 2 books I could not for the life of me find it in the library. Okay, technically one of them is a Kindle Unlimited fantasy romance, and the other one I just could not find it. They are literally not available in all of the libraries near me, in all of the libraries at all in Singapore, and I needed to finish this video, so I'm just like, okay, whatever, I'm just gonna get it on my Kindle. So the other title is gonna be The Heartless Hunter, or you can also call it Crimson Moth by Kristen Cicarelli. This one, I would say, is probably the one that I'm anticipating the most in this video. Literally everybody and their mother has read this book, and everybody and their mother has recommended this book, and I'm so excited to read this book. I've heard so many great things about this. So that is the second book that we are going to read in this vlog. And for the third book, I'm going to read Spark of the Everflame by Penn, which I've seen going around on booktube a lot, and I've been wanting to read this book. Again, have heard a lot of great things about this book. So all of these 3 has been really popular romantasy titles, and I've heard a lot of great things, so I'm very excited to read this. Hopefully I'm gonna give them all a very high rating. Hopefully I'm gonna really enjoy reading every one of them, and maybe a 5-star book in this video. I don't know, we'll see if I can get them or not. So those are the 3 titles that I'm gonna be reading for this video. So hope you guys will enjoy following the journey of me reading romantasies for a week and just having the absolute blast out of reading all of this book. So the first one that I'm gonna pick up, since I have a physical copy of it, I'm just gonna pick this one up first. The most intimidating one obviously is gonna go first. So I'm gonna start with Throne of the Fallen by Kerri Maniscalco. And yeah, let's get onto the reading portion of this video. And I'm gonna give you guys updates as well as I'm reading this book, basically giving my reviews and my thoughts again on whether or not you guys should pick these books up. And yeah, let's get on to the video.
so sorry, but I literally cannot take this sentence seriously because what the hell? Oh my god. That's actually so funny. I'm honestly not even exactly sure how I'm supposed to be feeling about these sentences that are being uttered because okay. Oh my god, you cannot tell me this is not giving Mr. Klaus Michelson, and as literally the biggest TVD The Originals fan out there, consider me charmed, okay?
Hi guys, so I finally came here to do an update and basically my final review on Throne of the Fallen by Kerri Maniscalco, which I did finish like a couple of days ago, but I kind of wanted to sort of wait on it and just sort of wrap my head around the book and what my final thoughts of it is. So I think now I can say that I can finally give my review on it and I can finally really give my final thoughts on it. So I do have a bit of a note here written about my thoughts on the book just because I don't want to like forget some aspect that I want to point out, which I do have quite a few. So the first thing that I would say is sadly this book was just not for me. While I do quite like the character, like I like Prince of Envy, I like Camille enough, and I really, really like Lady Catherine's character, but at the end of the day, I feel like the romance was just not really compelling. Like the plot of the story is quite good with the game aspect that is going on. It makes it quite fun and it gives us something at stake in within the story so that us readers can be kept entertained and kept curious. But I feel like, yeah, the romance is just not it. The romance is definitely one that is very lust based. Now, normally I wouldn't mind romance with a bit of lust, but I feel like in this case, it just felt like very, very lust based, and it's not really kind of romance that you can feel that they love each other deep in your heart. I feel like even when the author tried to basically tell us like, oh, it's more than lust, like the characters definitely love each other more than just like them lusting for each other, like it's literally on page. But for me, as I'm reading it, I feel like I couldn't really feel that, and I don't know, I feel like it really turned me off, towards the story. I feel like the romance was also rather forgettable, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I feel like the tension and just the romance scenes that happened wasn't really anything that I would say like, oh, I would like compare every other romance to this romance that happens here. It's definitely not like that. Another thing is that the change of point of view that happened in this book was quite confusing, and it's not like changing based on chapters. It could literally be on like one chapter, and then one sentence is like from Prince of Envy's point of view, and then the next sentence is like Camille's point of view, which was quite confusing at first. I was like, wait, who are you following right now? But at the end of the day, the story was in third person, so when we're changing to another person's point of view, the writing would say like, oh, Camille thought this, oh, Prince of Envy thought this, which I guess helps more. But I don't know, I just feel like the story was just a bit confusing at times, and I think it's the third person point of view that really also made it not as connecting for us readers to read. Like, I feel like I don't really connect to the character that well when it's in third person point of view, but it's okay. I'm still interested to read the next book in the series, which I saw the Goodreads synopsis of the next book, and it is following Prince of Gluttony's point of view, which I think should be quite interesting. For me, I would love to read Lust's point of view, and I think probably Sloth's point of view. I feel like the both of them is probably the most interesting character out of all of the Prince of Hells. So their books would probably be the one that I would be most excited to read. Another thing is that I did not know that this is in the same universe as Kingdom of the Wicked. Like, I knew that the writer was the same. I briefly knew that Kingdom of the Wicked was about Prince of Hell. That's why I was like, wait, that's so weird. Why is she writing like two different universes about Princess of Hell, But then as I was reading the book, there was like one scene right at the like ending of the book was like quite confusing. It felt like I was like missing a piece of the story. I was like, wait, is there a book that I'm supposed to read before this? Because I feel like I'm sort of missing a part of the story. And at the start of the book, we already saw Wrath and Amelia being together. And I was like, wait, I kind of would like to see Wrath's story. Like, why are we being sort of spoiled of their romance here? But then I read the synopsis of Kingdom of the Wicked and saw that it was about Amelia and Wrath, and I'm so mad. Like, I literally would love to read the book first before reading this, because I mean, okay, it didn't really spoil that much in terms of plots and stuff like that, but I feel like there are aspects within the book that I felt like would have been better if I read Kingdom of the Wicked first, which was such a bummer because that book was supposed to be on the list, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna read Throne of the Fallen first, which is like, okay, that was not a good decision. In the end, that was Throne of the Fallen for me. It's not that I hated the book, it's just that I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to, and it was rather disappointing, to be quite honest, because I had a really, really high expectation on this book based on the very, very high review that it has. But that's okay, you're not gonna like every book that you read, and that's totally fine. So Kingdom of the Wicked is just not for me. If it is for you, then that's great. There are a lot of aspects within the book that is pretty good, but it's just in the end is not for me. So that's Throne of the Fallen by Kerri Maniscalco. So the next book that I'm gonna read is, I think, Spark of the Everflame by Penn. This is the one book that I've seen going around booktube so much. I've seen like literally everybody talking about this book, and I've been so excited to read about it. I quite literally have not read anything about this book. I don't know anything about this book because I tried my best to like avoid any kind of content that has this book in it, because I wanted to go in blindly and I wanted to just have like a fresh opinion on it. And so this is the book that I'm going to be reading next, Spark of the Everflame by Penn. And yeah, let's get into the reading portion of this video.
Exactly, guys. Do not settle for the bare minimum, okay?
Alright, so I just finished Spark of the Everflame, and let's talk about it. So my thoughts on Spark of the Everflame. I find that the stories are compelling. The very much slow burn romance is absolutely amazing and so intense. And the plot of the story was not boring at all in the story. If anything, all I wanted to do as I was reading this book was just pick it up and just read it until it finished. I can literally finish this book in one day if it weren't for the fact that I had to do some editing and the fact that I came home from school a little bit late. If not, I would have probably finished this book in one day. And for it to be a 400 plus pages of a book is kind of insane, in my opinion, for me at least. So yes, the plot is very interesting in the fact that it's very much plot driven book, because it is talking about two clans in the universe of this book, which is the Descended and the Mortals. Now, I do have to say about the plot is the fact that the magic system in it, I felt wasn't very much delved into, as the fact that we only knew that, okay, the Descended can heal themselves, their skin as thick as hell and cannot be pierced with just a regular mortal knife. It needs to be made of a certain material for it to be able to hurt them. And 3, they can either wield shadow or light power. But in that case, we didn't really see much of that in action yet. There's 1 or 2 times that it happened, but at the same time, again, in terms of the magic system, I feel like we didn't really get to delve into that as much. It is a one person point of view story, and to be honest, I would say at times I find that our female main character DM was kind of annoying and a bit foolish. There are times when I see what she's doing in the book and I'm reading about what she's doing in the book and I'm like, why are you doing, like, oh my gosh, it gets me so incredibly frustrated reading some of the stuff that she's doing in this book, and I'm like, girl, you have to get a grip, okay? But at the same time, the reasoning behind her doing all of these things are justifiable, because as the plot of the story, it is definitely something that she would be doing. Is something that I can even see myself doing at times. But some other times I'm like, there's no way she's doing this. And it's just, her character is so naive, and her character is very much like passion driven, where she's doing what she thinks is right at the current moment directly without thinking it through so much, and it incredibly frustrates me. But other than that, I find that the very slow burn romance very compelling, and every time their scenes would come up, I would be holding my breath. I would literally be holding my breath, and I'm like, okay, I'm like anticipating about what's happening right now, and the tension is absolutely insane. And it's definitely a huge, huge, huge slow burn that is going to be carrying through the 3 books that is in this series so far. I'm not really quite sure how many books there are going to be in this series, but so far there are 3 books, and I'm very, very excited to read the second book now that I finished this book, because that ending, the cliffhanger that we were left on, was so insane. There are types of book series where once you finish reading the first book, you're satiated enough that you don't feel like you need to be reading the book to ASAP. But when you're reading this book, as I was nearing the end of the book, I feel unsatisfied. I feel like I need to know more. I need to know more about what's happening in this world. It's very, very clearly dragged out so that the readers are anticipating to read the second book, and it works. It really, really works. As soon as I closed this book, I wanted to open the second book immediately, but I can't do that due to the fact that I'm doing a video on this, and I do need to read another book for this video. But if not for that, I would probably pick up the second book quite literally immediately, and I sure will be. Okay, once I finish some of the videos that I want to finish, that I want to do, I would go straight into reading the second book for this series, because it is amazing. It's not a 5-star, I would say that. The plot is good, the romance is great, but it's not giving me that 5-star feeling. You just know, okay, when you're reading a book and it is a 5-star, or it's going to be a 5-star, you just know it deep in your heart. And sadly enough, this book is not it. However, I would still recommend everybody to read this book because it is so interesting. Again, there's not one part in this book where I felt bored and where I felt like, oh, let me just put this book down. I just don't really feel that interested to pick it up and read it. No, there was not one moment when I'm reading this book where I felt that. And that is incredibly amazing. And I love when a book does that, because it keeps us readers interested, and it gives us a good time to be reading this book, and yeah, I really, really like that. So that is my final thoughts on Spark of the Everflame by Penn. Please pick this book up as soon as you are able to. Everybody that has been recommending this book, thank you so much, because this is an amazing book, and I'm so, so grateful that I'm able to pick this book up and read it. Olivia Reads a Lattes, she was the one that I saw this book being recommended by first, so thank you so much. Your videos are amazing and I love that, and your recommendations are amazing and I love it. And thank you so much for the recommendation for this book, because it's absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to read the second book of this series. So yes, please pick this book up. I love it. It's amazing. Thank you very much. That's the second review of this video. And next book I'm going to be reading is The Heartless Hunter or The Crimson Moth, depending on where you are at. And I'm very excited to read that book as well. I would say that is the one that I'm most excited to read in this whole vlog, because everybody and their mother has been reading this book. It's been trending on both booktube and booktok, and that's crazy. I'm very, very excited to read this book. Yes, that's The Heartless Hunter by Kristen Cicarelli, and I have it on my Kindle. I'm going to read it quite literally right after I finish this clip, and I'm very excited. So let's get onto the reading portion of The Crimson Moth or The Heartless Hunter by Kristen Cicarelli.
To make assumptions and all that, but that is a foreshadowing if I ever see one.
Everybody, grab a drum. We have a bang on our hand. How do I even begin? Okay, I have so much things to say. I don't even know where to start. Heartless Hunter or Crimson Moth by Kristen Cicarelli, 5 out of 5 stars for me. This was such an insane journey. Like, it brought happiness in me, it brought a lot of anger in me, it brought a lot of sadness and heartbreak in me. Every emotion that a human could reciprocate towards a book was brought out of me, okay, by this one book, which is literally so freaking insane. I literally, just like moments ago, I was sitting at this cafe reading like the last few chapters of this book. I literally had to put this book down, take a breather, and get myself out of that cafe as soon as possible because my tears were like streaking down my face, okay? Like, my tears was unstoppable. I had to literally put this book down. I was literally in the middle of a chapter, but then I could not continue. I could not continue, or else I was gonna be sobbing on that table alone, and that was just embarrassing, okay? But this book, oh my god, the plot in this book was so immaculate. The romance in this book was just absolute chef's kiss. Oh my god, like, I don't even know, like, okay, if you have not read this book, then you probably don't know what I would be talking about. But if you have read this book, it's just like Gideon doing the flowers for Rune was just the most romantic thing a man could ever do for a woman. There, I say it, okay? Like, they were both pretending, but like at the end of the day, are we really pretending? Like, who are we trying to fool in this book, okay? Gideon and Rune are just doomed for each other, okay? I did not know this book was not a standalone. I went into this book fully thinking that it was going to be a standalone and we're going to get that happy ending at the end of this book. But then I was at like chapter 60 and I was like, wait, we have like, what, one chapter and one epilogue left, and we haven't even reached our happy ending. Like, what is going on here? Apparently it's not a standalone, and another book is coming next year in February, which is just way too long for me. I have to wait 2 months to see what happens to these two. It's just, I can't even begin to say anything. Okay, the plot is so amazing, and I love it when books can make me cry, when books can make me angry, because oh my gosh, the amount of frustration I felt when I was reading this book and the heartbreak that I felt along with the characters. Like, the characters' hearts were breaking, my heart was also breaking with them, and it's just so crazy, such a crazy experience. And there are moments in this book that just touched my heart so much. I've literally never felt that in any other books before, even books that I gave like 5 stars, okay? But there are scenes in this book and the things that these two are doing with each other, and just the absolute romantic gestures that they're doing for each other, especially Gideon to Rune. My heart was melting and breaking all at the same time, which is like so insane to say. Kristen Cicarelli, oh my gosh, what kind of magic did you infuse into this book? Honestly, like, I'm beginning to think like she put some kind of drugs or some kind of magic in this book, because I could not get enough of this book, okay? I need more. I need to see what happens next. I need to see the ending. Best believe when the second book comes out, I'm gonna be at the front of the line the second that it was published onto this bookstore. I just I did not expect to get a 5 star out of this video. Like, okay, I was kind of like excited to see if I can get a 5 star, but I wasn't expecting it, especially like with the last 2 books. Some of them were like nearing 5 stars, but weren't exactly 5 stars, and I was beginning to accept the fact that, oh, okay, maybe I'm just not gonna get a 5 star at this video. And boom, I read this book and my heart was torn in half. Literally, as soon as I finished this book, I was just like left in shambles. I wanted to end it all, okay? Like, it was such a crazy, amazing ride. I just love reading books, you guys. I love reading romantasy books, especially. This is exactly why I read books. This is exactly why I love romantasies. If any one of you guys have not picked this book up, please, please get it right now. Read it right now. Trust that you will not regret, okay? And just, okay, another thing is that I love how the both of them see each other so well. You know, it's like, obviously there are things that they keep hidden from each other, and I think that as a reader who knows what each other are hiding from each other, it's like kind of painful to read at times, because I'm like, okay, this is so frustrating, because we all know what is going to happen whenever this kind of tropes are in books. But it's just that the gestures that they still do to each other, despite the fact that they both technically are supposed to hate each other, is just so touching. I just love the both of them, okay? And this is also the first time ever, okay, when I'm reading a book about 2 brothers who are fighting for this one girl, and I'm genuinely confused about who I'm rooting for. Like, obviously, I have someone that I'm rooting for more than the other, kind of, but at the same time, I'm so torn, and I'm like, okay, low key, they both kind of are good for her. Like, I'm so torn. Like, that is the first time that I've ever felt like this, because like the 2 of them are just so amazing, and I love the 2 of them so much, okay? And it's so hard. It's so hard to pick a side, but like, obviously I'm rooting for one, okay? And if they're not endgame, I will literally end my life, okay? So yeah, please, oh my gosh, read this book ASAP. All of the good things that you've heard about this book is true. All of the good reviews that you've read about this book is absolutely 100% true. All the 5 star you've seen of this book is so correct. I cannot even say anymore. I just love this book so much. Please pick it up. Please, I'm begging you. It's so good. Oh my gosh. Yes, so that is The Heartless Hunter, or The Crimson Moth which is the last book that we're going to be reading for this video. It's such a ride. I love romantasies book, and like this video made me realize that so much. You know, it's like romantasy is just that one genre that is just always gonna be in my heart, and I will always gravitate toward it, and it's just so amazing, and I will never stop reading romantasy books. So yes, that is the last book for this video, and yeah, I'm just gonna kind of wrap this video up after this clip once I've gathered my thoughts on all of the books. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next clip.
As I was editing at this one cafe, I just had to show you guys this place because it is so good. Like, this drink that I had was like a white coffee that was their specialty, and it tastes so good. Go to this cafe if you're in Singapore. It has charging pots and it also has free Wi-Fi, which is amazing. So yeah, please visit it.
Alright guys, so we have finally came to the end of this video for this whole week that I've been reading a bunch of popular romantasies book, and I've been honestly really thoroughly enjoying my journey to read all of these really amazingly written books. Some of them might not be for me, not some of them, actually, it's only one of them, but you know, it could be for a lot of people out there, obviously, because it's a very popular book. It is very much well loved by a lot of people, so it's definitely for a lot of people out there. And honestly, these books are just really fun and really great to read if you guys are just looking for some romantasies book that you guys really want to start to read, or you're just getting into the genre of romantasy. You can definitely start with any one of this book, I would say, and maybe they would be for you, maybe they would not be for you, and that's totally fine. But yeah, explore your options and all that. One thing I do want to say though is I'm very sorry if I can't really get my opinion out there very verbally. Like, I feel like sometimes when I'm kind of rewatching clips of me voicing out my opinions on certain books, I feel like I didn't really get to really say all that I wanted to say, and I couldn't really get my feelings out there in words because, well, English is not my first language, and I feel like sometimes I really have to think before I start to say something, and you know, sometimes I can't really articulate my feelings out very eloquently. Like, I feel like I'm better at writing my opinions compared to just like speaking them out at the top of my head, which is why, again, yes, sometimes I do feel like some things are left unsaid, or I feel like sometimes my true feeling doesn't really feel like it's getting voiced out in the video that I'm doing. But anyways, it's totally fine. It's a me problem in the end of the day. But I do really hope that you guys can truthfully understand exactly what I'm trying to say. Like, I hope that, you know, when I really like a book, or when a book is not for me, like, I hope that it can come out and I can voice out my feelings about these books very well. I'm not really sure how to say it, but hopefully you guys get what I'm trying to say. Is basically what I'm trying to say. So let's get onto kind of the wrap up part of this video. So in this video, we read a total of 3 books. So the first one being Throne of the Fallen by Kerri Maniscalco. The second one is Spark of the Everflame by Penn. And the third one, being my favorite, is Heartless Hunter by Kristen Cicarelli. As I said, I would really genuinely recommend you guys to read each and every one of this book if you've been really interested in reading them, because I feel like they are, at the end of the day, a really fun book to read, and it's not like any of these books are making me go into like a reading slump, or I feel like very tired to read any of these books. I feel like the journey of me reading each and every one of this book has been pretty well. It's just the content of it, some of it is just not something that I tend to really enjoy when it comes to romantasy, which is totally fine. So yeah, that's really it that I wanted to say in this wrap up part of the video. I'm not really sure what else there is to say. So I ended up giving the rating stars for each of this book. Throne of the Fallen having 3 stars, Spark of the Everflame having 4.5 stars. I'm still not really sure whether it's like 4.25 or 4.5 stars, and Heartless Hunter by Kristen Cicarelli having obviously 5 stars. Yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video very thoroughly, and I hope you guys can get at least something out of it. Like, if you've been wanting to read any of this book, hopefully I can persuade you to read at least one of the books that is in this video. Yeah, I wanted to thank you guys for watching it through to the end of the video. I really appreciate you guys so much, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye!